Hi, good afternoon. My name is Kathryn Janicek. Today we're going to talk about how you can turn your internship this upcoming semester or the internship that you have this summer that might be winding down into a paid job. So what I want to tell you is if you are a college student or if you are the parent of a college student, an aunt or uncle of a college student, a grandparent of a college student, have a friend who has a child who's a college student, you want to share this video today because I am proof that you can get a paid job in college while you are going to a college or university, and then you can just be gainfully employed for the rest of your life. Sounds great, right? So if you're a parent, this is news that you absolutely want. You want your child, your student, your son or daughter to be employed full-time, hopefully, as soon as they graduate. And that did happen to me. My parents were packing my U-Haul from Marquette University, and I had a job that started maybe 3 or 4 days later down in Champaign, Illinois. So it can definitely happen, and I just want to kind of go through some steps and show you exactly what to do to turn that internship into a job. And the reason why I want to do this today is I actually just thought about this topic about an hour ago. I received some questions from you on the Facebook page or on my Facebook page, but I also had one of those memories that popped up on Facebook that said one of my former interns, it was a picture that said that she was leaving my television station. She was thanking me for all the help, and that was 5 years ago, and that memory came up. And I was reposting it, and I was thinking about all the great TV jobs that she's had since, and now she's here in Chicago working at her former station where she interned 5 years ago. And that's awesome. So I want to help you if you are a university student and you would like to intern next semester, or you have one starting, or you're finishing an internship this summer, or again, you have a child who is going to have an internship and you want to make sure that that internship turns into a job. I want to kind of tell you a couple things that you can do to make sure that there is success with that. So this is definitely a video that you want to keep and share with your neighbors if you have a bunch of college age students on your block, right? Every intern that I've had, it has a kick-ass job right now or is doing what they dreamed of doing. So that's awesome. That's definitely what my desire is as an internship coordinator, as a manager at television stations. And I have a couple former interns who are on air at television stations across the country, and I have a couple former interns who are managers at television stations across the country. So that's awesome. That's just, it's something that I definitely am very, very, very proud of. So how did my own, I want to explain how my own television jobs or internships in college turned into jobs later. And I've been in television 20 plus years, have been very, not lucky because, you make your own luck, but I haven't had to look too long for a job because I've had this great career as I went along. But how it started was, first of all, is I chose a school, and this is something important for parents of college students or parents of high school students who are looking at universities, or these high school students themselves. So this is important. I received scholarships from a couple of different good journalism schools when I was in high school. But when I did my college tours with my mom, I ended up choosing Marquette University in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, because it's in the middle of a city. It has television stations right there in the city. You're not dependent on getting a job at your college station and making that work. Or you're not dependent on just having internships when you go home to visit your mom and dad in the summertime if you live in a bigger city. So if you want, now this is obviously, I've had interns who came from Mizzou, like Missouri Columbia, who who have great jobs now, but they started in a college town. Mizzou is, I looked there. I received a very generous scholarship from the university, and we went, and I just felt like, gosh, this is 8 hours away from home, and it's in the middle of a cornfield. and it's a small town, and another big thing about Mizzou is they don't allow you to work for the television station until your junior year. That was a rule that was in place 20 years ago when I was looking at colleges, so you may want to, that's something to look at. So two things. Look at where the university is placed. Is the university in a big or medium-sized town that's a television market? Is it a Rockford, Illinois? Is it a La Crosse or an Eau Claire or a Milwaukee, or is it a Detroit or a Fort Myers, or you want an actual I personally feel that you want to go to college in a city that's a television market, that you're going to be able to work and intern at those television stations in that city. It's a great experience, and that way you're not just tied to that university television station, which is going to be a great experience, but after freshman year, you're going to want to move on. So looking at a university that's in a television market, it's in a city where you can commute, you can walk to or bus to or drive to the television stations or radio stations or the newspaper easily, that's huge. That really helped me, and that's why I decided on Marquette University in Milwaukee. And this is not like, I'm not getting paid to promote the school, but it worked out really well for me. All right, so another thing is you want to talk to the university, talk to the dean of journalism or communications, and find out when your student or when you're going to be allowed to touch the stuff, to produce a newscast, to work with the equipment, to anchor a newscast, to report on a story and turn a package for the college station, or have a radio show, or be able to write for the newspaper or the yearbook, or whatever it is that you want to do. You want to make sure that you can do that freshman year. I personally feel that that's important. By the time, you might get to junior year and say you do all of your prereqs and stuff freshman and sophomore year, and then by the time you get to junior year and you're finally allowed to manage a newscast or run the equipment or run around with a television equipment to go shoot a story, you might realize at your junior year, you're like, I don't even really like doing this. Well, that's kind of late. Now it's junior year and you've realized you don't want to do journalism, you don't want to do television, whatever it is that you're going into. You don't want to create digital news for websites, whatever it is. You want to make I personally feel like you want to make sure to be able to do that freshman year. So pick a university that you can touch the equipment, start working at the television station or writing for the newspaper as early as possible, because that way you're not stuck junior or senior year going, oh, now I can finally do it and I don't really enjoy it. Another thing is a lot of universities will say freshman year is too early to get an internship. And I think my university, my dean of journalism, I think that they kind of try to sway me away from doing that freshman year, but it really got me doing, it was a fast start for me. So freshman year, I believe it was second semester, I had my first internship. I was also working at the television station on campus, but I had my first internship at the ABC affiliate in Milwaukee. And I'm not gonna make it up. I don't remember a ton from that semester. I mean, it's been a long time, but I know I completed my internship. I got to work on the assignment desk. I got to work in the investigative bureau. I got to get a good feel, and that was when I was still 18 years old. It was my second semester of freshman year. So I was able to see, yep, this is indeed what I want to do. I love this. I loved the fast-paced newsroom. I loved the attitude of the reporters and the anchors. I loved working the assignment desk. I loved it. I loved how fast you had to move crews out into the Milwaukee area and to get a story. I loved the fact that viewers were calling in and asking questions, and I loved that kind of customer service aspect, because those were the viewers of the television station calling. So I really did enjoy the newsroom experience, and I enjoyed my internship that second semester of freshman year. And again, it was the ABC affiliate in Milwaukee, which is a great size market, and that's where I was able to start my internship. Then the next semester, I applied and got an internship at TMJ, which is in Milwaukee, the NBC affiliate in Milwaukee. and I didn't complete it. I think I was there maybe 2 weeks, 1 week, and right before I received the internship, I had applied for a job, a paid job at the Fox station in Milwaukee, which was owned and operated by Fox. It was the pay was good. I was excited to get obviously a paid job. So I was one of those interns, which it would really have bothered me if I was my manager, because here I am. I interviewed you. You're about to start. I've trained you for a week and a half, and you are now moving on to another station. Which, for me at the time, that was the right move, because I was able to get paid and work as an associate producer. But I wouldn't suggest jumping ship, because it's a really great way to hurt your reputation. And I would not doubt that the news director still remembers the fact that I left mid-internship, or not even mid-internship. So with that said, I will say that that's one mistake that I would not make. If you commit to an internship at a television station, a newspaper, I would, if you're a parent of a student and you know that this is going on, I'm sure my parents didn't know, because my parents have always taught me to, when you commit to something, you stick with it. And I would suggest to you to advise your student to not jump ship when they commit to an unpaid internship, to stick with it, because that's the way you get a good reputation as being someone you can count on, because there's going to be another job. All right, so I did it the opposite way. I left the internship and I took a paid position my sophomore year at the Fox station in Milwaukee, and I was paid as an associate producer. So I worked on the morning show and I edited tapes for the morning television show. So all of those tapes that you saw, the video you saw, I was in there at 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, editing those pieces of video. And then I would go to an 8 a.m. class and a 9 a.m. class, and it was tough, but I'm glad I did it, because honestly, there was an amazing news director there at the time, and she is still a powerhouse when it comes to television news, and I made some connections there that I will never forget. So again, I went on to that internship. I went on to a paid position my sophomore year of college, and that's a really great start. And so I was paid for every TV job or radio job after that. I never had to intern again after my sophomore year of college. So that's a really great success story, and that's one of those things that I will be I'm surprised when I receive a message on Facebook or a tweet or an email from people, and this has happened for many years, where people who are about to graduate college or have already graduated college ask me how to get an internship or how to get a television job. And I ask them, where were your internships during college? And they say, I didn't have them, I didn't have time, or my counselor never told me that was important. And I'm here to tell you right now, and please share this with any parents of any college students, you have to have an internship in college. And you have to start, I would start really, early, as soon as you get in there, looking for internships at least, because once you graduate, unfortunately, they want that experience. And sometimes in some industries, that experience can only come with unpaid jobs. So it's really, really, really important for you to have internships during college, so you can turn that into a job, and then you'll graduate and you'll have a job, or you graduate and you move on to another job. But you want to try to see if you can move that internship into a full-time job, make sure that they see, or a part-time job, and make sure that they see that you're indispensable, that they absolutely want you, and honestly, you're cheap labor, because they can probably hire you for less per hour than someone with more experience. I mean, I know they can. So that's really an important thing to do, so you can get a paid job in television, and I'm sure newspaper might work the same way. But I have to admit, I don't know a whole lot of people who got paid jobs at television stations or anything in the media without interning during college. And why it's important during college is the colleges will give you credit for that internship, And so the television station doesn't have to pay you. And some television stations now have turned over to very minimum wage paying internships, but still you're in college when you get those. So it is important to do that while you're in college. There is still, I think, a majority of television stations that are unpaid internships, and the way they feel that they're paying you is you're getting college credit for that. So it's their way to get good, cheap labor, and it's your way to get that experience so you can get a job later on. And I don't know a lot of people, I personally don't know anyone in television who hasn't interned in college in order to get a full-time or part-time job after college or while they're still in college. So that's how important it is. And I've been in television for 20 years, so you need that internship. So, all right, now I've told you about the importance of an internship in college, why you can't have one after college, most likely, because it's important, you're getting that credit from college. So if you think that most likely a television station isn't going to accept someone who's already out of college for a free internship, because they have to reimburse you somehow, and their way to do it is through college credit. So that's why it's so important to do it while you're in college. I know some people who have thought of it, it's so important that when they've graduated from their undergraduate and they still don't have a job, they've gone back to get a master's just so they can be in college and get an internship. And I know, if you're a parent out there and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so much money, or if you're a student, you're like, I'm gonna go get a master's just to get an unpaid job. But that's how tough it is to get an internship. I know people who have done that. They're like, I could not find an internship after college because I didn't do it while I was in college. And so the only way for me to do it is I went and I got a master's degree. So I hear that story over and over and over again. And I know of a couple cases of people who I've advised, I've just said, hey, you know what, you're not going to get an unpaid internship after college because they can't pay you in college credit. So you might want to think about, if you're going to get that master's anyway, you might want to go and think about getting that master's, and that way that you can get an internship at a television station and parlay that right into a full-time or part-time job. All right, does that make sense? So I've given you tips on which universities to pick to be able to get a kick-ass television job right away. I picked a medium-sized market. You can go to a small market, you can go to a large market, a medium market, but you really want to go to a university, I believe, that has a television market there. So you can drive, walk, bus to television stations, so you're not stuck with your college television station, because there's so much more out there for you, and you'll be able to get a job right out of college if you have all of these internships. All right, so you've already chosen a university that does not have any television stations in the area, that just has a college station, or maybe does not even have a college station. So what do? You've already locked in, you've already paid tuition, and you're there. There is a great opportunity for you during summer and winter. I'm sorry, my dog is barking. I couldn't lock her up, so that's her. During summer and winter, you can always go home to see your parents and intern in their city if they live in a city that has television stations. If they don't, if they're somewhere where it's a very small town or it's way in the middle of nowhere, you may want to consider going and living with an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, a relative that lives in a market that has great television stations. This is just, think about it. You're going to spend summer somewhere or Christmas somewhere. You might as well go to a Chicago or somewhere where you can get a really awesome internship that summer. And summers are great for internships because you get many, many more months, and you can work there as many hours as you want because you're not competing with your class time. Summers, you can really get a lot out of an internship. I've known some of my best internships were during the summer, and they just were able to kick butt because they were able to work nights, weekends, mornings. They were able to pick up shifts, and go out with reporters. Summers are a great opportunity, but you don't want to limit yourself to that, because then you would just have 2 or 3 internships. All right, again, I'm sorry about Marielle the dog. All right, so now you have that internship. You have landed it. Does anyone need to know, and I might want to rewind, does anyone need to know how to get an internship? Like, how do you even find one? If so, I will say there's There's listings at television stations. They will list when they are looking for internships. You also should know that they're looking. So you should connect with anchors or producers, or if you're a parent and you have a friend of a friend who works at a television station, I don't care what they do, you need to work that network, because your student, I've just seen it happen, your student may have a better chance if you know someone who knows someone at a television station, and that way you can just possibly get your child into an internship. It might get them faster. It might get their email to be read before some others. So it's good to know. It's even if they work in HR, that's great. If they work, if they're a camera person, if they're a videographer or a video journalist, if they're a reporter, just use those connections or find people on LinkedIn. People's parents find me all the time on LinkedIn, and so I connect them the way that they should be connected to a television station for an internship. So this is the time, like your student only has 4 years in and out of an undergraduate degree. So it's so important to, if you're going to network for anything for your own job, try to help your student or do some networking for their internship. You might as well, because it'll really set them up for the future. And I really would rather see the student network, and I would rather see the student reach out. But if it could be the student or the parent. I've seen it either way. When I get a message from the parent, I always say, please have your son or daughter email me. I want to take it out of the parent's hand right away. And I will tell you that most times that student never emails me. And then, I know that they're not going to be a great intern. They're not going to be, I want someone who is a go-getter. I want someone who's going to run after a story. That person's going to survive in the business anyway. So that's why I always, always, always tell the parent, great, I'd love to help your daughter or son. Please have them send me an email. Here's my email address. And it's like my preliminary thing. I'm not trying to test them per se, but I just know that the right student will actually send me an email and will track me down. And if they don't, then they're really not cut out for journalism news anyway, because you need to be able to track down a source for your story. And your first thing is you need to be able to track down somebody to give you an internship. So, all right, that's that. So now you have the internship. I don't know how to really say this without just saying it, but dressing for the internship is important. More women than men really make mistakes when it comes to dressing for their internship at a television station. I'm sure this happens in every field. I've seen it in television because I've worked in television for over 20 years. So when you are, and I'm going to talk right to if you're a college student and you're preparing for your internship, I know that you're 18, 19, 20 years old, and you should not be dressing like a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old or someone older than that. I get it. I don't want you to go out and buy a whole new wardrobe. But it's really important to dress professionally. Dress clean. Be neat. Don't be distracting. I have seen swarms of college students come in for internships with shorts that are barely longer than their underwear, skirts that are the same, and then you can just have that. You have an imagination, I want you to be respected by the photographers and the reporters and everyone you work with. And sometimes our clothing can give off the image that you don't want to give off. So please, just when you come in for your interview, take a really good look at what people are wearing, and then just wear what's appropriate for your age. Again, I don't want any man or woman who's 18, 19, 20 to 21 to feel like they need to dress like the old stodgy reporter at the television station or somebody else. They need to dress like them. You need to dress in your style, but I just want to look out for you, and I want to make sure that as a woman, especially, that you're dressed in a professional way. I don't see the mistake a lot. I don't see men in short shorts at their internship, but I do see it a lot in the summertime with summer interns. And I just want you to know that there are better choices. And if you're a parent, you can go ahead and pass this on to any college student or high school student that you know. And there are high school internships too. I interned at Daily Herald out in the suburbs when I was in high school. So that can happen too. All right, so now you know how to, of course, I would love it if you dressed appropriately for your age. And then here's another big one. Once you have that internship, volunteer for things. If your internship turned out to be you're on the assignment desk, and that's just where your internship landed, but you really want to learn what it's like to be a photographer or a reporter or an anchor, it's best to not ask to be taken off the assignment desk or to be taken out of what your duty is as an intern, but to come in on a Saturday or one of the days that you're not responsible to come in for your internship, all right? So chances are, especially if you're in a small or a medium market and you've been assigned to the assignment desk, that's really important, and you're gonna do a lot of work. You're gonna answer phone calls in emergencies when the assignment desk person is not available, might be in the bathroom, takes a lunch, maybe hasn't come in yet. That job is really important. I've done that in an internship, and you're the first line of when people call into the television station to give a news tip. It's a really important job. So for you to ask, oh, this Thursday I'd really like to go out with a reporter and learn what instead say, would it be okay, John, or whatever the manager's name is, would it be okay if I came in this weekend on one of my days off and I'd love to be able to shadow, I'd love to be able to follow and learn from, George the reporter or Cynthia the photographer, or I'd love to follow the anchor around and see what it's like to do the 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. news. That's huge. Also ask for just more responsibilities, because that internship, you're going to learn so much. It's great, especially if you're in a small or a medium market. I can't say enough for starting in a small to medium market as for your job or in an internship, because chances are you might actually, if there's an emergency, you might actually go out and report on a story. You might need to be trained quickly and go and shoot a story and shoot stand-ups and shoot, maybe a live shot, or learn how to run a live truck. You might need to fill in, if you're in a small market, you might be the anchor in 2 weekends when everybody's sick. You never know. But those opportunities happen way more often in a small or very small or medium market. So I would never tell a college student that a small or a medium-sized market internship is not valuable. I actually would say sometimes it's more valuable, because you'll be able to do a heck of a lot more. When you land in a television station for an internship or your first job, and it's a union-controlled television station, for example, sometimes there's things you can't do, like you won't be able to just jump on the editing equipment, you won't be able to shoot, you might not be able to ever report, because those are union jobs. So in a small market that may not have the jobs controlled by unions, you'll be able to jump into those. So again, these are all just things that you may not have thought about, but they are things that will really help you. And then think about it, if you, during a 6-month internship, shot and did a couple stories and was able to anchor a little bit, or maybe do a mock-up resume tape, you can walk that around to television stations and possibly get a job a lot faster. So please never put down the idea of starting in a small or medium-sized market. Like if other students are looking at that, it's a great opportunity. All right, so we've talked, this has all been for the last half an hour about getting a job, getting an internship, keeping that internship, and then turning it into a full or part-time job while you're still in college. So when you graduate, you're gainfully employed. So I hope this helped a lot, and please, 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 if you are a student or if you're the parent of a student that's in high school or college, please share this if you found value in this, because I would love to be able to help more students or parents like you help their college students or high school students get those internships. It's very, very important to me, because I have really, really, really enjoyed all of the experiences I've had to manage interns, and especially see them just flourish. I'm really proud. I'm really proud that they are, all of my interns are either on air right now, or or they're managers at television stations, or they're in another industry and they're just kicking butt. So, and again, please share this or like it and let me know if you did find value in the video.